It's 5:30. I'm going to call the Stephenville City Council into a regular city council meeting. I'm going to call us to order, and Mr. Huckabee, Councilman Huckabee, is going to lead us in the pledge. Welcome to City Council tonight. Today was the gaveling in of the Texas legislature. I'm sure that was Pledge of Allegiance, and the state pledge was stated all over the Capitol. It's interesting to watch how many of us don't know the Texas pledge, but I can tell you there's a lot of state representatives as soon as they don't know it either. So they have to have it on a piece, they have it on a little card when until the end of the session. So, well, thank you for being here tonight. I'm going to turn it over to Pastor Kent to lead us in prayer.
Mayor and City Council, it's a new year and an exciting time. I just want to say, in reading through Scripture, a lot of times I'll read the proverb of the day, and today is the 8th, and in Proverbs 8 it talks about wisdom and how wisdom dwells with God, how to have wisdom is far more valuable than to have silver and gold. And ultimately, the Word became flesh. We just celebrated that at Christmas, and Jesus really is the wisdom of the world. So I want to pray that for you, that would be the blessing upon you as leaders, as those who make decisions that affect our lives, that you'd have wisdom this year. Would you pray with me? Father, we come before you today and thank you that we are so privileged, so blessed to live in this wonderful city, in this blessed county, that God, you have poured out so many resources and put so many wonderful people here. You have placed these leaders before us, this mayor, the city council, the city secretary, and others who are here in the room that lead us in the areas of city management and first responders and law enforcement. God, we ask today that you would grant them your peace, your blessing, and that you would pour out wisdom upon them so that they might be able to make decisions that would bless the lives of people in this community. And God, help us to avoid the errors that are happening so many places in the world where we have abandoned wisdom and gone after worthless things. Bless us tonight, we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, sir. We appreciate the Ministerial Alliance always having someone here to say the invocation for us. Our next item on the agenda is a proclamation for Cowboy Capital Pro Rodeo. And we have some guests here tonight. They're going to come up and receive the proclamation, but so for the microphone, I want to go ahead and read it while we're up here. So I'll read the proclamation, and I'm sure there's going to be some pictures and stuff afterwards when I make the presentation. So let me read this proclamation. Whereas Texas is blessed with a rich and colorful history, and no event captured the unique spirit of the Lone Star State better than the rodeo. And for 5 decades, rodeo, cowboy, and cowgirl athletes have been drawn to Stephenville to compete in the official sport of Texas. And Stephenville is home to more world champions, national finals rodeo qualifiers, and elite rodeo talent than anywhere in the world. And the Cowboy Capital of the World Pro Rodeo was organized in 2013 and grown by leaps and bounds. And the Cowboy Capital of the World Pro Rodeo is a 4-time WPRA Justin Best Footing Award winner. And the Cowboy Capital of the World Pro Rodeo is a 4-time PRCA medium-sized rodeo for the top 5 nominee. And the Cowboy Capital of the World Pro Rodeo Committee continues to serve as honorary tourism ambassadors, and the Cowboy Capital of the World Pro Rodeo Committee does an outstanding job representing Stephenville. Now, therefore, let it be known that I, Doug Savine, as virtue of the authority vested in me as the mayor of the city of Stephenville in the state of Texas, do hereby proclaim January 8th as Cowboy Capital of the World Pro Rodeo Association Appreciation Day in the city of Stephenville, and encourage everyone to celebrate their dedication and its impact on our community. I'll talk about that. Everybody, come on up here. Everybody want to get a picture. If I get my picture taken, y'all gotta have your back here? I need to stand back there?
I think you'll be good. We'll just get you centered. Get these pretty ladies in there.
Maybe we put the ladies on the outside, we can inside, we
I'm
don't.
not tall enough for this. Yeah.
All right. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Perfect.
You know.
Good.
You go over. Put your hands Have some real pretty ladies here. Yeah. Oh, that's okay. You say if you want, we have a lot of good stuff to talk about tonight. Rodeo has had a lot to do with Stephenville for a long time. Okay, our next item is citizens' general discussion, and I only have one person that signed up to want to speak tonight, is that right? I had a great opportunity to meet with Dr. Chris, you have to say your last name, Shao. He is a professor and dean of the business department at Charleston State University. We had a long conversation one day. We talked about how Stephenville, the city of Stephenville, and the Charleston Business Department can work together on collaboration for studies, preparing some of his students, and maybe, as we've heard, some of the students want to leave when they graduate and not come back. Maybe we can have an opportunity for them to stay in Stephenville. So I'm going to invite Dr. Chris to come up and just talk for just a minute about your program. Tell us about, get behind the microphone, that way we can record you. And just kind of tell us about your program, and you've been meeting with Alan as well, is that right?
Yeah, he met with Jeremy.
Okay, with Jeremy, all right.
Yeah.
Just tell us a bit about your program.
Okay, first, thank you very much
You
for
bet.
having me here. I'm Chris Sao, the new Dean of College of Business Administration at Charleston State University, and this is my second semester as Dean over there. Even though this is my 5th year in Stephenville, I still consider myself somewhat new to the city. And that's the reason why I think I need to use this opportunity to reach out to the community as much as I can, especially based on the fact that we're in the College of Business Administration, and we are supposed to work with the city really, really closely. So that's how I have this opportunity to talk briefly about the college. College of Business Administration, it's been here for a long time. But I think started from a few years ago, we really tried to reach out to the community because we know lots of our students, after they graduate, they tend to leave the city of Stephenville. And maybe they will come back, maybe they don't come back. So I would like to take this opportunity to work with the city and hopefully to keep lots of our graduates in the city of Stephenville. That's actually the initiative that gave me to start reaching out to the community in general. And we had that very pleasant conversation for a long time, not just for our students, but also for the city in general. And the college itself, there are 3 departments: accounting, finance, economics. They are in the same department. Then we have management as one department, and marketing and computer information systems as the other department. Overall, we provide 7 degrees, range from accounting, finance, management, general business, so on and so forth. I think the whole idea is not so much how many programs, how many degrees we provide. The basic idea is we have lots of students with different disciplines, and we would like to provide some kind of service to the community in different forms. For instance, the most popular form is provide internship. We have lots of students, they're good students, they're motivated students. They would like to have the opportunity to work as interns. And I think the community, the city, have lots of opportunities for us to utilize those students. The second thing is there are lots of exciting events going on in the college as well. It varies semester by semester. For example, this coming spring, I think some of you probably know something about this business plan competition. This is the 3rd time we're going to host this business plan competition. We do that every other year, given limited resources. And this year, we actually launched this campaign already, I think since the beginning of September. And right now, this semester, we try to push it really hard. And the whole idea of this one is we set up some kind of criteria for business to start in the city of Stephenville, especially in Erath County. And after a while, they need to hire a certain amount of employees from the county and stay in the county for a certain amount of years. The whole idea is we would like to keep them in this region as much as we can. So that's one of those exciting events. And the second thing is also in this spring semester, we have Tarleton State University, there's a service week event. And during that service week, the university blocked the whole week for students to provide service to the community. And again, some of you probably know something about this. Some of you probably don't know anything about this. So I would encourage you to approach either the college or the university to take advantage of this service week. The purpose of service week is basically to educate our students to provide service to the community in general. So this semester, we have these two major events. In addition to that, there is a third event hosted by the college itself. We are looking at executive in residence event. We invited speakers to be on campus during that specific days, sometimes from out of the region, sometimes from out of states, provide some kind of speech for students and interact with students. So hopefully students have a little bit more real world experience, and that's the whole idea that tied together with the internship opportunity as well. The bottom line, I'm new here. I'm here to let everybody know that we are available to help you. Probably not 100% because after all, we're looking at students, but we can at least provide some kind of support, maybe give you some kind of direction. If there's not much we can do, we'll provide resources, give you the right directions. And again, thank you very much for having me here. I have some information right here. I didn't know there would be that many people here, so I didn't bring enough. I have my business card right here. Is that
If you
can
want
I
to just leave it with Stacy, she can.
okay, and I
make
have some
available.
brochures in terms of business plan competition. The best way to communicate, to contact me is through email, because I'll be in and out of my office a lot. I still try to figure out how to use my office phone, so I'm not quite there yet. By email, on the other hand, I can check my email like lots of you through my cell phone. I'm not that good in terms of texting. I can do it, but slowly. So I'll send a response, brief response back to you, so I'll get back to you. And I will get back to you. I know lots of times people say, well, send me an email. They never got back to me. I will get back to you, okay? So I'll just leave this business card with you and some brochure about business plan competition. Okay? Thank you very much.
Well, you know, Chris came to my office. He had a good friend of mine bring him over to visit. We had a good hour and a half, maybe 2-hour conversation. And one of the things really that stood out was he came and says, we want to be a service to the city of Stephenville. We need a lot of that. And so we appreciate that a lot. And particularly the internships. We talked about the possibility of, you know, reaching out, letting your students have some experience here. Maybe they'll want to get into, you know, into business in the city of Stephenville. So that's our hopes. We appreciate you being here and what you bring. Does anybody have any questions for?
Any questions?
Thank you so much for
Okay,
coming tonight.
Thank you very much.
Next item, we're going to turn it over to Planning and Zoning Commission.
Hi, I'm Lisa Latouche. I'm the Vice Chair of the Planning and Zoning Commission, and I'm here to give you our annual report. So in this past year, one of the things we did was we amended the zoning ordinance to allow restaurants with alcohol to be treated the same as other restaurants. So we repealed the B5 zoning. We also reduced the minimum lot footage in R2 zones from 6,000 square feet to 5,000 square feet in the hopes that this greater flexibility will encourage renovation and growth. We heard 25 rezone cases, and that includes the B5 establishments. We had 1 residential subdivision replat, 6 subdivision waiver requests. We had a zoning amendment to allow for a citizen collection station. We had 2 special use permits issued and 2 commercial replats. And then in this coming year, our work plan includes approving the future land use plan. We plan to look at the Brick Streets downtown designation. We plan to look at the sidewalk improvement plan and take another look at the billboards in the city, in their existence within the city limits. We also plan to update the 2030 comprehensive plan, goals, and objectives, and then look at other projects as they come up. That's it. Any questions?
Anyone have any questions? They do a lot of work. It's an important committee. Obviously, they have some legislative authority. And the fact that if they say yes to something, it takes us 2/3 to say no to it. So there's a very important committee in the city of Stephenville. Any questions? Thank you very much for your
Thank
report.
you.
Public Works Committee, Mr. Nix.
Thank you, Mayor. Public Works Committee met with all members present. The only item we had on our agenda that night was the discussion of the lift station at the wastewater treatment plant. Might give just a little bit of a background. We have applied for and been approved with the Texas Water Development Board for a low-interest loan of a little over $17 million to construct the East Side Sewer Interceptor. This is a tremendous improvement to the city's collection system, and the beginning of that project is the lift station at the wastewater treatment plant. It is the place where that whole project will commence, and this is the first step in implementing that project. The bids that we received on that were more than we anticipated. However, based on construction cost and based on the current market for materials, manpower, et cetera, it was the opinion of staff that these were probably correct bids. This is a key part of the interceptor, and it is the beginning step in that interceptor because it is the lowest point in the interceptor, and the construction of that will begin at the lowest point, which is this lift station. All of the discharge that goes into the wastewater treatment plant from that line will come through this lift station and be carried to the top of the treatment plant and then gravity flow back down through. It's a critical component. It's extremely important that it be constructed correctly and adequately sized for current use and for future growth as well. And it was the recommendation of the committee that we approve the contract for this. And I would make a motion that we award the bid for the East Side Relief Sewer Interceptor Influent Lift Station Project to Crescent Constructors for $4.347 million, contingent upon environmental clearance, Texas Water Development Board approval, and active SAM registration. These 3 items are a part of the process that we go through with the Texas Water Development Board. The environmental clearance is something that they require on all of their projects because of the potential environmental impact. The Water Development Board approval also is contingent on that and our application being approved, which it has. And the SAM registration is a national registry which authorizes contractors to work on projects that are funded with state and federal funding. And I would make that motion to the council.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? Mark? Mark makes a motion. Second. Anybody have any questions? I'll try not to get us to vote till we have a discussion. Hearing noted, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor of the motion, which is to approve the East Side Sewer Interceptor you want to state it exactly you wanted?
Influent lift station
Influent Lift Station.
contract
Contract for $4.347 million
to Crescent Construction.
to Crescent Construction. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Same sign opposed. Motion passes.
Thank you, Mayor. That was all of our business that night. That concludes my report.
Mr. McClinton, Finance Committee.
Sir, Mr. Mayor, Finance Committee met on 1/3. We had one item on the agenda, and that was to discuss or review the purchase options, financing arrangements for the purchase of a vehicle for the fire department. If you'll recall, in December, we had a similar conversation. It was brought forward to the council with no action. At that time, the fire department had not selected a particular vehicle for purchase, so we had to let it go at that. In the intervening weeks, Chief Chu and his team have in fact selected a vehicle for purchase, and so we are now at the point where we can move forward. What I'd like to do, sir, if it's okay with you, I'd like to get Chief Chu to give a brief presentation of the vehicle selected and the reasoning behind that, and then after questions are completed, I will conclude the financial.
Okay. Chief.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. First off, I'd like to thank Battalion Chief David Malloy and Lieutenant Monty Parker, because they did a tremendous amount of work vetting out trucks. They've driven and operated trucks of all brands and sizes, and we have decided at this point that we believe the best purchase for a truck in the city of Stephenville will be a 110-foot platform built by Pierce, which they call their Ascent. It's a single rear axle truck. It has a platform 1,500 gallon per minute water pump, and it has quite a bit of compartment space on it. We are buying this truck. This company makes they make two things. They are one of the few suppliers of a single axle truck of this size, and they also make what is called they call it a puck, but a pump under cab, which gives us a lot more storage space on the truck, which is always a problem on a fire truck. And with that, I'll answer any questions about the truck you have.
Any questions for the chief?
Would Chief, so with the purchase of the truck and the options that y'all have looked at, you're going to be able to stay under the $1.2 million
Yes, sir.
budget?
Yes, sir. We will be able to. The truck is $1,061,000 and change, I think, on it, and the rest of it we have trimmed the list back, and we will be able to stay under that. And we've allowed some flexibility where we think we can work with that. We're sure we can stay under the 1.2 million.
Okay, thank you.
To answer your question.
Jimmy, could you elaborate on the necessity for this truck? Because I think it affects our insurance ratings, so for the public to understand why we need this truck, could you elaborate on that?
Yes, ma'am. There's two things. First off, we have enough buildings over 3 stories that we need a ladder truck. Our current ladder truck is a 1997 70-foot truck. One of the issues with the truck is the fact that because we have started to go higher, move out with the fire lanes, we need a longer truck, not necessarily to go to the top of the building, but to give us the angle to get to it from where we have to in the parking lot. If you'll remember, a few months ago, one of our trucks was in an accident. That was our reserve pumper, and it was in an accident. We lose credit when we don't have a reserve truck, because we have a required gallonage that we have to be able to pump, and if one of our trucks goes down without reserve, we can't meet that requirement. So our current ladder was due for replacement next year on the capital improvement list, and it is also a quint, which is a term we use in the fire department, but it's a combination pumper ladder. So this will allow us to take our other ladder and use it as a reserve pumper and as a reserve ladder with one vehicle, and we just felt like this was a good opportunity to make all that happen.
We don't do it now, we wait.
Yes, ma'am, and this truck is gone up about from some of the cities that I've talked to about buying this size truck. Now, not this particular truck, because it's a pretty new deal, but this size truck has gone up close to $100,000 in the last 18 months.
Really?
And because of the cost of materials right now, I don't anticipate that going down very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, oil price went up today. Any other questions?
Well, in addition to that, Mr. Barnes or Jimmy, one of the two, would y'all explain about the up-and-coming mandate that we'll be dealing with on this as far as the ladder truck? Is there, as Jimmy said, we're seeing larger buildings being built. We
currently have proposed in the pipeline a couple of five-story buildings. I think there are probably some five-story buildings at Tarleton. And because as Jimmy said, our current ladder cannot reach those size buildings, given the configuration of the fire lanes, the electric lines, and so forth. They can't get close enough to the building to be effective. Excuse me. And the other factor is the pumpage. As Jimmy said, we have to have a certain number of gallons per minute to be pumped, and currently, due to the fact that we do not have a reserve pumper, we are not able to reach that level.
And, Mr. Harrison, like, Mr. Barnes is saying, we're going up, a five-story building is gonna be, Jeremy will tell me this, but it's probably gonna be at least 55 feet. Right? And our 70-foot ladder would obviously reach the top of that if we can get the truck close enough to it, but it's not safe to put the truck that close to the building, so we need a longer ladder to get that. Everybody thinks that, well, when you buy a 110-foot ladder, you're looking to go to a 110-foot building. That's not the case, because you have to get away from the building on your deal. And we continue to go up, and people continue to ask us to go up on the deals. And we think this truck, we picked this truck for a lot of reasons. We think it best fits Stephenville, and we also think this will be a truck that we can use for quite a few years. That'll fit our needs for the next, I'm gonna say the next 20 years. And the life expectancy on one of these trucks, I know that sounds like a lot of money, but the life expectancy on this truck is at least 25 years.
But the timeliness of it is because of a wreck
Yes, sir.
on another vehicle. It's total.
Yes, sir.
That's what precipitated
Yes,
this.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions?
Thanks.
Mr. Chair?
Thanks, Chief. Appreciate it. So after Jimmy had given us, the committee, his report on the vehicle, Monica, and let's go back to December, because in December, if you'll recall, we had some financing options that were presented, but we knew that because of the timing, we were not gonna be able to, that we would have to go back out and do a new request for quotes. And at that time, it was indicated that we would probably see an increase in the percentage rate on those notes because of the anticipated Fed rate hike that happened in December. As it turned out, when Monica went back for quotes in January, simply because the calendar had changed, we got quotes that had a lower interest rate, so it was fortunate for the city of Stephenville for that. She presented 4 options to the committee. There were 2 items that were discussed as we were going through those options, and I think it's worth mentioning here tonight. One of them was because of the insurance claim that you mentioned, Mr. Mayor. How can we, and if so, how can we add additional protection to the city of Stephenville and the taxpayers here by changing the way we insure vehicles? Monica had indicated at our meeting that she had already started that investigation, and that there may be a way that we can, if it's economically feasible, classify some vehicles in the fleet as special use and do different insurance on that to keep us from being in this position again. And Monica and Mr. Barnes, I think, both indicated that they would bring that forward when they got that information, hopefully rather quickly. There was another point of discussion that involved the possibility of additional vendor discounts if we chose to pursue this vehicle the way, in a similar fashion, the way you would a construction loan. So at milestone points during the construction process, there might be the ability to pay and receive some additional vendor discounts. And I think Monica and Mr. Barnes also indicated they would follow up on that for us. So hopefully we'll have some information on that. At the end of the day, the committee voted to bring forward to the council an offering from Frost Bank, and that would be a 10-year note for no more than $1.2 million, an annual interest rate of 3.24%, and that would also include a prepayment option. And what the prepayment option is, it's kind of like a down payment. You make the first payment when the loan closes. By doing that, we save $45,000, I think, Monica, over the life of the note. About $45,000 over the life of the note. And to do that, we would have to take from unrestricted reserve funds $137,935.91 is what she has here. Assume that's the actual number. That would have to come from unrestricted fund reserve balance. Monica's indicated that that money does exist, and that's, by making that payment, that's where we save the $45,000 over the life of the note. So that is the option that was brought forward by the committee for the full council's consideration, and that is the end of the Finance Committee report, sir.
Do we have to take action on that?
We do. This has to be supported by a resolution, and to that end, I would move that we adopt resolution number 2019-R-03 for the purchase of a fire vehicle, the 110-foot Pierce-built ladder truck as described by Chief Chew.
A second.
I have a motion by Mark, Carla seconds it. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Same sign opposed. Motion passes. That's the complete report.
Yes, it does, thank you.
Thank you very much. Monthly budget report, Ms. Harris.
Council Mayor, this is our report for our period ending November 30th, 2018. We're 2 years into our fiscal year, and our target percentage is about 17%. The financial indicators are what I would expect, or some of them are a little bit better. For our property tax, received $392,000 in property taxes in the month of November, resulting in $195,000 or 40% increase over the funds that were collected through November of last year. In sales tax we received $560,000 in November, which is $34,000 over our target budget, and we received $99,000 or 9.48% more than last year. For hot funds, we received $10,000 in hotel occupancy tax revenue through November. Please keep in mind that the first reports and payments for the fiscal year aren't due until January 31st. Last year we would receive $26,000, and that's because we had 2 hotels paid earlier instead of just 1 this year, or 3 last year and 1 this year paid early. We've spent $26,000 in hotel occupancy tax funds in November as compared to $5,000 last year, and that's because we created our own tourism department. The target budget for operating revenue is $4.2 million. We received $3.7 million in revenue through November, resulting in $460,000 under budget. And this is a result of property taxes, which of course are billed in October, and they're due in January. They become past due if not paid by January 31st. And then we have some other taxes and permits that are due quarterly and annually. So we haven't received those payments yet. The target budget for operating expenditures is $3.3 million. We expended $3.2 million through November, which is $147,000 under our budget. We're still at a slow start. Our operating revenue received last year was $3.5 million as compared to the current year's $3.8 million, which is $301,000 increase due to property taxes, sales taxes and our investment interest. Our operating expenditures last year were $3 million as compared to the current year's $3.2 million, which is a $206,000 increase. And that's due primarily to because we had 3 payrolls in November because every 2 weeks, and last year it was just 2 in November. And we had additional expenditures for our balance scorecard training, our salary survey, and advertising in our hot fund. For our new programs, we've started the salary survey. The BRT Phase 1 and 2 mowing has been in progress, and the Garfield storage tank projects are also in progress. And the Stop the Bleed training kits have also been purchased. Are there any questions?
Any questions? Hearing none, do we need a motion to accept her report? I don't think we have to have a report, just a report. Okay, thank you, Monica.
Thank you.
Next item, Stephenville Type B Economic Development, CETA. Jeff, would you come up and make a presentation? And he's already told me it's a short presentation, but he may sing for us, though.
There's a chance it might not be as short as you think.
Well, wait a minute, you told me it was.
I did, but that was just to butter you up a little bit.
Okay.
How many of you guys like Elvis?
Of course we do.
Of course we do. Okay.
Elvis who?
Oh, hush. Today is, and I say that with respect, love, and a good Christian heart. Today is Elvis's birthday, and so I think being that we are a Texas music-friendly community, I thought that it was appropriate, or would be appropriate, to give my report utilizing as many Elvis song titles in the update. So,
That's a preacher laughing at you. You know that.
not the only one. My board member's thinking, why did we do this? All right, so here goes. Lord have mercy, my wife's going to kill me. All right, let's see here. Lord have mercy, I killed this. Okay. All right, first of all, thank you for letting me speak here. I hope you have a good holiday and nobody had a blue Christmas. That was one. We will not be meeting in executive session, but that's all right, Mama. With all the meetings we had on special projects the last couple of months, you're probably thinking you need a little less conversation and a little more action, please. So this is what we're going to have. This week I'm going to attend ICSC, which is the International Council of Shopping Centers Expo. And for those of you who might have suspicious minds about such a thing, understand that our attendance last year continues to bear fruit, as this is where we first developed a relationship with several of the developers that we've discussed in executive session and so forth. And those people are now currently investing in our community. The relationships built over the past year could be considered our good luck charm. Thank you. I won't say it's now or never, but this is a timely opportunity to continue building the bench for future development and investments. For demographics, we have just received updated retail trade area numbers. This is important for all of us. As you know, we contract with Retail Coach, and they provide us with up-to-date numbers. We're utilizing these for several things. I'll be taking a flyer to ICSC to utilize these numbers as well. I want to point out a few areas, 3 areas specifically, which are sometimes referred to as the American Trilogy. Median income, trade area population, you got it, thank you, I appreciate it. Median income, trade area population, and median age. Median income for households has inched up to just under $63,000, proving that we have fewer folks living in the ghetto. Trade area population now shows over 86,000 people this year, and that's an uptick. It's expected to grow to nearly 90,000 by the year 2024. These are people spending money in our community. And lastly, our median age has dipped just slightly to 36.53, indicating that there will be no crying in the chapel due to being branded an aging community. Those are not real laughs, they're just mercy laughs, and I appreciate that. Policies and Procedures Manual, another thing that we've discussed over a number of months. In the Policies and Procedures Manual, we put together a task force, and the document has been completed. It covers a variety of things from meetings to board to staff and more. I think it covers things such as nepotism, which has been an issue, which basically means if I don't have a little sister, but if I did, this document would probably address how she could not gain from not working at CETA. And just to be sure, we forwarded this document to HR here at the city, and it's supposed to be forwarded by Mr. Barnes' request to an HR attorney as well. We don't need anybody getting in trouble and singing Jailhouse Rock. Boy, how many is that? I'm at 12. Okay. Oh, we got to catch up. All right. Just about done. Our new board members, as you know, we have a couple of new board members joining CETA this month. So we have begun the process of getting to know them better, not in that hunka burning love kind of way, but certainly in a way that gets them up to speed as soon as possible, especially with all the projects underway. It's imperative that we dig way down and give them as much information as possible so we can start the year off right. And lastly, I got a lot to catch up here. Bear with me. All right, on this one. Bear with me. I know this information's probably got you all shook up. And you may even want to point your finger and say, return to sender. But seriously, you know, I'm not the devil in disguise or even some hound dog. But if I can dream, I just can't help believing that by the end of the year, even the most skeptical folks can't help falling in love with what we're doing. We have a lot of excitement about to take place this year, and I hope you're ready, Teddy. So, thank you.
Would you step away from the podium so
Thank
we
you
can see
very
if you have
much.
any blue suede shoes?
I do have my... All right. Mercy. No, that's it. Obviously, we are very excited about what's going to happen this year. There's a lot of great things that are in play right now. You are aware of most of those things. No executive meeting today because some of those things are in play. I believe January, February, and March are going to be a very active month. I'll be meeting with developers all week that are ready to invest some money in Stephenville. So
Well, it's good to
exciting
know
stuff.
that the average age has ticked down because that means that Brandon's in that second half of his lifespan, right?
Mayor, I'm just thankful that the podium was there so we couldn't see the action below the waist.
It's a Ed Sullivan thing that's going on here.
Anybody have any questions for Jeff? Thank you very much, sir. Okay. Let's go to the next, let's go to the consent agenda. I have a motion.
Mayor, I move approval of the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Okay. Alan has moved that we accept the consent agenda as presented, and Mark seconded. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, accepting the consent agenda as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Same sign opposed. Consent agenda is approved. Comments by city administrator.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, I want to remind everybody that the committee meetings, the council committee meetings for this month is next Tuesday, January the 15th. First day to file for a place on the ballot is Wednesday the 16th. We are having this year's Open Meetings Act and Public Information Act training Wednesday, January the 30th at 5:30 here at City Hall. That's the attorney from Dallas that came over last year and did the presentation for us. Our regular council meeting for February is February the 5th at 5:30 p.m. And I believe that concludes my comments.
Any questions for the city administrator? Place one, Mark.
So, Mr. Mayor, I would certainly like to wish everybody a happy and very prosperous new year. And then for over a decade, we have been cussing and discussing the East Side Sewer Project in Stephenville, Texas. It's always been a conversation about lines on a piece of paper until tonight, when those abstract lines by actions of this council have been made a concrete reality, and that's a big deal. And while that discussion has gone on for 14 or so years, it's involved past councils, past administrations, past city employees that are no longer working for the city, and it also has involved a lot of people sitting in this room here tonight. And so what I want to do is, to anybody and everybody who's had a role, whether large or small, in getting us to the point where the first step of the East Side Sewer Project has become a reality, I just want to offer my thanks. Mr. Mayor.
Carla.
Well, I want to give kudos to some employees. First of all, to our police department for their apprehension of suspects in these 2 attempted burglaries lately, because that was awesome, guys, just awesome. And I hope it sends a message to criminals in the Metroplex that Stephenville, Texas isn't where you want to come to commit a robbery, because they found out we're not easy pickings like they thought. So thank y'all so much. That was awesome. And kudos to Julie Smith, our tourism manager, for securing the Vietnam Wall, the traveling Vietnam Wall for us. Not only did she secure it, she secured it during Veterans Day week. So that is awesome, and we're looking so forward as a community to having the wall here in our town. And also January 28th is the Oxford House Soup Supper, and as you saw me selling tickets up here, I have tickets for sale. I'd be glad to sell you a ticket. That is our annual fundraiser at the museum for the Oxford House renovation.
Thank you. Ready?
Mayor's always really good about trying to challenge folks to go out and spend their money and support the charitable causes in our community. And there's another one, of course, this Saturday at 6 p.m. out at the Erath County Showgrounds, supporting the local youth for our community. So, Mayor Sabine, I challenge you and the rest of the council and everybody else here to go out there and support the youth of their projects and bring a couple $1,000s with you. And you probably end up with an animal, or at least support a place as at the selling.
Do I have to take the animal home?
No, you don't have to anymore. So, but you probably can work out a deal on one if you want.
I
to.
bet we can. Thank
Okay.
you very much. Appreciate
Please be
that.
there and come support.
And I'll reciprocate. There you go.
Thank you.
I just trust that everybody had a great Christmas, and as we move into 2019, as we embark on a new year, that it is very productive, and I hope that this community is blessed with health, prosperity, and wisdom.
Alan?
I'm gonna help Carla give a plug for the supper at the
Thank
Oxford
you.
House, because my family and I have eaten there for a number of years. It is a good meal and it's an excellent cause, and I thank you and the others for providing that service for us. Also, congratulations to Jason Halsey. He completed an impressive FBI course, and because our employees improve, it improves our department, and thank you so much for taking the time and making the effort and the commitment to do that. I appreciate that. And Chief King, I appreciate you allowing him to participate in that, because again, as Carla said, that makes our department function better. It's an improvement to all of our community, and it's a credit to the department as well as the city. Thank y'all. Also, I'm gonna echo what Mark said about the East Side project. When I was elected in '08, that was one of the first projects that Nick brought to us. And I know it wasn't new at the time, but it was new to the council at that time. We cussed and discussed that over a number of years. I'm excited that we've finally taken the first step to move forward with that. It is a huge step forward for the community, for relief of some of the existing community, and to provide for future growth. And thanks to the council for being forward-thinking and being willing to do the things that we need to do to help this community continue to grow and prosper and provide for the needs of the future as well. Thank you, Mayor.
Sherry?
I would just like to echo what all the prior council members have said. I would hope that everyone had a wonderful Christmas, and I hope that the coming new year is a very happy and blessed one. Thank you.
Shakopee?
Same thing. Happy New Year to everybody. I think 2019 is going to be a really fun year to be a resident of Stephenville, Texas. I think there's a lot of really good things coming here. I appreciate all the work the council's done before I got on here for the East Side Sewer Project, and that we were able to get that done, and so many other great things that we're working on to try to do it. So thank you to everybody. I hope everybody has a wonderful 2019, and that's it.
I just want to say one thing, say thank you to all the council members sitting here. Every one of us serves, and every one of y'all serve as a committee chair. And we've had some pretty tough issues that have come up. We've worked as a team, got some good things done, and I appreciate the hard work that y'all do. I really do appreciate that. It's made this job pretty easy, all things said and done. Is there any other business on the agenda? Anything else we need to say? Hearing no other business, then we'll adjourn at 6:15. Thank you for attending.